Hello, my name is Julie Schaefer, and I'm presenting on Benny Carter. So here are my list of contents. The first is I have the thesis, second is the biographical information, and third is the contributions to jazz/society. And then I have Benny Carter's performances part one and Benny Carter's performances part two. And then I have stylistic points about the music that Benny Carter created. And I have two musical examples. And then my final slide is my references. So to begin, I have my thesis. This thesis is Benny Carter is a well-known alto saxophonist who also performed with several different instruments and developed new forms of musical arrangements. So here's some biographical information on Benny Carter. So he was born on August 8th, 1907 in New York, and he died on July 12th, 2003. His first musical lessons were taught by his mother to learn how to play the piano. But soon enough, Benny Carter became attracted to the trumpet, and he's attracted by two individuals, by his cousin, Cuban Bennett, and his neighbor, Butter Miley. And he taught himself how to play the trumpet. However, he is known for playing the alto saxophone. He's also a clarinetist, an arranger, composer, and band leader, and he even knew how to play the trombone. Benny Carter was inspired by Frankie Trumber at a very young age. And at 15 years old, he began performing at Harlem bars in New York. His contributions to jazz/society. Benny Carter's contributions to jazz were crucial to the development of the sound of big bands. Benny Carter is recognized for the complex and accessible nature of his arrangements, which help blend two different types of jazz, swing and bebop, flawlessly. He was an innovator in the way he combined and arranged different instruments sound together when he created music. He developed a new way and style of playing the saxophone. He provided a versatility by being able to perform with several different instruments. So here's a list of Benny Carter's performances, part one. His first professional jobs were with June Clark and Earl Hines. And in 1927, he created his first record with Charlie John's Paradise 10. And then from 1930 to 1931, he was an arranger for Fletcher Henderson's band. And then for a short amount of time, he managed McKinley's Cotton Pickers. And in the early 1930s, he recorded with the Chocolate Dandies, which Coleman Hawkins was a part of. From 1932 to 1934, he led his own band with a variety of people, such as Ben Webster, Q Berry, Teddy Wilson, Dickie Wells, Bill Coleman, and Sid Catlett. And then in 1935, he played with Willie Lewis's orchestra. And in London from 1935 to 1938, he was the staff arranger for the BBC Orchestra. And then while he was in England and France, he was a freelance soloist. And then in 1937, he led a band in Scandinavia. And then here's the list of performances, part two by Benny Carter. From 1938 to 1940, he created another band in the United States of America. This band was the house band at the Savoy Ballroom. And then in 1938, he was an arranger for Benny Goodman, Count Basil, Duke Ellington, Glenn Miller, and Tommy Dorsey. And he also played with Dizzy Gillespie and Kenny Clarke. A group that he had led included Max Roach, J.J. Johnson, and Miles Davis. And then in Los Angeles, he wrote for many television productions and featured films. He created arrangements for Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, Ray Charles, Peggy Lee, Louis Armstrong, and Billy Eckstine. He played with the Jazz at the Philharmonic and a few of Norman Granz albums. Here are some stylistic points about the music. Benny Carter was famous performing sounds of color with his alto saxophonist, and he was able to achieve this by the way he created a smooth and delicate technique while he performed his solos. As the jazz evolved through the years from a different variety of jazz, this included bebop, cool jazz, hard bop, and then the avant-garde. However, Benny Carter was always constant in the world of jazz, while jazz was ever-changing. One of Benny's most arguably best-known original tunes is When Lights Are Low. And then some also famous he's also famous for composing Cowgirl Boogie, Only Trust Your Heart, Key Largo, and Blues in My Heart. And he's also famous for a number of more composers. And then Benny Carter was also known for performing with a swing style. Compared to others, Benny Carter helped define big bands in jazz. First, this is my first musical example, When Lights Are Low by Benny Carter. And then my second musical example is Cowgirl Boogie by Benny Carter.
Of rain down in Santa Fe. I'm in a cowboy riding the range one day and then he's all alone. I heard him singing, I'm gonna see you here, cowboy song. It was a pity.
All right, and then that's my presentation on Benny Carter. Thank you for listening. And then here are my references. Thank you again.